Welcome to Advent 2023. And I'm kicking off this year with A Bend in the Yellow River, which was my first novel. And this really takes you back to kind of the lost age of publishing. I wrote this in 1993. Mostly, I went to China with VSO. China really was very unimportant at the time. All the smart kids were learning Japanese. I had a friend at uni. Only 2 unis in Britain taught Chinese. I had a friend who was studying Chinese and kind of teased him relentlessly, like, what are you going to do with that? And how wrong we were, or how wrong I was, because I ended up in China. And VSO were working in rural areas where they couldn't get foreign teachers. So I was in Shanxi province. They posted you in pairs because of the kind of mental stress of being so isolated. And there was 2 of us of about 20 million Chinese, and the nearest foreigner was about 12 hours bus journey away. Anyway, that's all about me. And what this book I wanted to be about was about the Chinese people. Because, of course, before we went, we were given a reading list, and there were like 6 books, and they were all way out of date. And it was kind of like learning about the Britain by reading books about the 60s at the time. So I thought someone should write a book that kind of updates that. And this was my book. I started keeping a diary. I tried to get published, and I was the Guardian weekly newspaper. The Guardian, they put together a weekly newspaper for overseas readers, and they had a letter from section, and I got a piece published with them. That was 1,000 words, and I thought, well, okay, that's now publishable quality. And that's actually the first chapter in this book, which starts, of all the places in China, it seems strange that we should end up here, at the eastern edge of Yuncheng, a small town where the people have narrow horizons between mountains and chimney stacks. And it was just a description of the street I lived on. I wrote it longhand. I bought a word processor with a screen this big to type it out, and went into bookshops, took down addresses of books that looked similar, because in the front page of a book you would find the address. So I would then write to the publisher and say, I got this book. I think my kind of tagline was, it's like a year in Provence set in China. And then I think 10 publishers wrote back. Couple said no, and then an editor phoned me up and said, I'd love to meet you in London. So I met her for a drink near Orion House. She was at Phoenix House, which was part of Orion Publishing then. And we had a beer in a bar across the road. And then she called me up 2 days later and said, I'd like to offer you £3,000 for this novel. And I couldn't believe it. My life's ambition was to be an author. And here I was at 24, just having been accepted for publication. And so I thought I'd kind of made it. And then the book was published, and I walked into the bookshop and just had a kind of sinking feeling of how on earth, amongst all these thousands of books, is anyone going to come in and know my book is there? And I thought, you know what I have to do? I have to write a better book next time. And so next Advent will be what I thought was the better book.